Tonex, Amalgam Audio, Soldano. Is the cab on? Interesting. Interesting. What's up, people? What's going on? You guys, you got to enter the giveaway. I've been thinking about it, and I still stand by the idea of if 5 people sign up this week, 5 valid entries, enter, I will bow out. And here's another thing I think is a good idea. Instead of having unlimited entries until the giveaway, I'm thinking about just going with the first 30 and then capping it off and saying, "Ooh, so sorry, you should have been here while you still had a chance." The reason why? We want this to go to someone who cares about this and will jump at this opportunity. We don't want this to go to somebody who's just, "Oh, I've got a casual interest in it. Let's throw my name in the hat." No, I want somebody that really wants this to get it. So there's a chance, I'm not saying I've decided upon this, but there's a chance that instead of this being like a 1 in 100 chance, that it's going to be like a 1 in 30 chance. All right. So consider that, because that is a very different opportunity than most any other giveaway you will get a chance to participate in, right? Yeah, think about that for a second. It's a $5,000 giveaway. What if it's a 1 in 30 chance? I think it's likely that it will be a 1 in 30 chance. And then I'm going to cap it. And then you guys are going to be crying the blues. Wait, I didn't know. I didn't know. Well, you can still tune in and watch it when we're giving it away. Those are excellent odds. And you know what? They're not excellent odds. Excellent odds are if you go and you bet on red or black at roulette, right? It's a 50% chance of winning. If you got a 1 in 30% chance of winning, it's not excellent, but it's also not like all the other giveaways where it's just, I've got a 1 in over 1,000 chance. Let's put it that way. Most of these there's multiple thousand people in it. What kind of fun is that? You can't really get vested in it. You can't really have much of an interest in it. It's just like, hey, if they call me, they call me, you know. But if it's just you and like 30 other dudes, and you can watch it when we're giving it away, and you can watch it all go down. That's fun. That's interactive. All right. And well, Jerry, maybe you know somebody that does play guitar. You know any electric guitar players? Send them this way. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna cap it. Now it might be 30, might be a little bit more, but I'm not gonna keep on accepting entries until the day of the giveaway. I'm gonna cap this, and I'm gonna have it a small group of dedicated artists that love the craft and want to pursue brilliant tone. It will be a good deal, man. And I'm sure ATEC will want me to. Well, we don't know the deadline yet, Jerry. So that's the motivation. Another motivation is if 5 people sign up this week, I'll take my name out of the running. So, but I'm sure ATEC wants as many eyes on this project as possible. And it's kind of counterproductive to cap it or to have a deadline that's far in advance of that giveaway day. But he's letting me run the giveaway. All right. And I might not do things exactly the way he wants. I want to foster a dedicated group of people who know they have a good chance and who really want to get this in the mail one day. I don't want you to just drop your hat and drop your fucking little piece of paper, little sliver of paper in the big cardboard box at the grocery store and think, well, maybe I'll get a phone call if I win the Volvo, or maybe I'll get a phone call if I win the cases of wine. Or no, I want you to be like, oh, let's keep an eye out on this. I want you to be keeping an eye out on a weekly basis. Like, ooh, is there something new going on? Not that I'm going to be changing rules. Not that I'm, nothing like that. It's just I want you to be connected to this because free amp. That's a special amp. That's a slow built amp, not a fast built amp in a factory. This is a sole proprietor, a special amp. Best parts available. This is going to be a special amp. Slow built special guitars are cool too. Okay. There's differences if a guitar had 15 hours of time spent on it versus 1 hour. And the amps are very different also. There you go. That's cool, man. Send them this way. Yeah, send them this way, dude. Nothing to lose. And it's pretty easy to come up with a 10-second video and email me. Just say, hey, here's my gear, here's some guitars, here's a cab. I'm ready to enter this giveaway. And then I'll shoot you an email back. Welcome to the giveaway. And there's a good chance you're going to be one of 30 people, maybe one of 40 people, maybe one of 50 people. It's going to be a small community. Okay. And I'm going to keep it that way. And I will cap it. And I'm not going for just trying to build a bigger audience. I will put out some advertisements on some forums once Luke makes a few build videos. Okay, I will get the word out there. But once I have a certain amount of verified entries, I'm going to cap it. And then it's going to be something that people really have a vested interest in because they've got a good chance. If it was 1 out of 1,500, they wouldn't be tuning in for game day. They'd just be like, well, maybe I'll win and they'll email me. Maybe I'll win and he'll give me a call. But if it's you and 20 guys, 30 other guys, you're going to be keeping an eye on this for sure. And if you miss the giveaway day, depending on how we feel. No, we've already said you got to watch on game day. But yeah, it's going to be hard to say sorry. Yours is the last name in the bucket, but you're nowhere to be found. So we're going to go back to the second last one and see if that guy's around. But I'll do it. I'll do that. And I will deny people that enter that can't really show that they're ready to take on a 50-watt head. I already have. And I feel no guilt or remorse or weirdness about straight up denying somebody and saying, somebody might write me a paragraph about how they've been playing guitar forever. I'll say, okay, here's what you need to do. Send me a 10-second video clip of these electric guitars and a speaker cabinet or two. Say you want to enter the giveaway in the clip and send me the YouTube link and I'll watch it real quick and you will be entered. If they can't do that, I'm not going to enter them. Yeah, I'm going to validate all participants, and there's not going to be people that don't belong in this contest, if you know what I mean. This isn't going to go to people pretending to be guitar players. This isn't going to go to a guy that's got a $100 acoustic guitar in his closet that says, oh yeah, I'm a guitar player. I'd love an amp. Buddy, you need an electric guitar. You need speaker cabinets. Come on. This isn't giving away a practice amp combo for beginner guitarists. This is a prestigious amp. 50-watt effects loop, EL34. It's going to be probably voiced like a meaner 800, somewhere between 800 and SLO, something like that. Effects loop, 50 watts. Transformers on either side, not right beside each other, talking to each other, on either side. This is going to be designed with love, and then it'll be hand built with love, and this is going to be a special thing. So hey, if you don't have the love for this, you can sit on the sidelines and watch the games. If you want to play this, you got to show me you got some love. All right. It's simple to enter, and when we get a little group of people that have entered, I'm going to cap it off and let them really enjoy the giveaway. Okay, so one thing I was noticing earlier is I was on a Soldano patch with cab IRs, and I like the sound, even though I'm playing out of guitar speakers. And that is a tough little phenomena to deal with. Because you don't want to play a speaker cab IR through a speaker cab. You want to play a speaker cab IR through PA speakers. But sometimes you'll find a good EQ matchup, and it's cool, man. So let me go back to that one I was playing. All right. This is the Soldano. Man, it sounds good with the cab. Here's with a cab IR going into a speaker cab. Let's see, I got to turn the reverb off. Yes. And how about the depth down? It sounds great with the cab on. Now let me turn the cab off. Okay, here's the cab off. It gets a lot louder. Nah, it doesn't sound good with the cab off. Well, that's the thing, man. Some of these are built to have the cab baked in, and they don't sound right without it. So I got to add the cab back to this. All right. Now I'm going to go through some that are meant to be without the cab. Huh. Yeah, that sounds better. That's the way it should be. it's really hard to compete with that Tonex. I like the Tech 21, and I want to be a Tech 21 supporter. And this in front of a high watt tube amp sounds awesome and gives a lot of extended flexibility. But this versus an Amalgam Audio capture of a high watt on something like a Tonex or a Quad Cortex, this is like 2D if you're using it as the whole amp going into a solid state power amp. In front of a amp that it matches up nicely with, that's a different story. But the Tech 21, I see why they went to blowout sale mode. It's because it really is like two-dimensional versus what they can do these days with modeling. Now, there's another aspect of this, and that is when you're playing live and you have high decibel sound flying through a room. With the solid state stuff, a lot of times it gets drowned out, even if you have more than enough wattage to make it loud. Once the drummer hits the cymbals, once different shit happens, it doesn't fill a room. It doesn't allow listeners in the audience to hear it like tube amps can. And I wonder that if you were at concert volumes, I wonder what that projection quality, which is an unrated phenomena of guitar, electric guitar experience. That's an unrated zone. I wonder what that would be like between Tech 21 and something like Tonex, Quad Cortex. I think at low volume levels, the Tonex and Quad Cortex sound much more like the real thing. But I bet that if you were in a large amphitheater outside and you needed sound to project so the people in the back could hear it, I've got a feeling. It's just a feeling. I don't know for sure. But I think there might be something about the Tech 21 EQ and projection that would allow more people to hear it in the audience. Maybe I'm wrong. And I hope that this place can be a place where in the comment section, people chime in and say, nah, you're not really onto something with that. They're both going to get drowned out. Or somebody could say, yeah, you've got a point. The Tech 21 doesn't sound as good, but it projects more. I know because I have this experience with them, you know. So I want to interact. I'm not preaching. I'm talking about gear in a interactive way and talking about theories that people really don't address, like that projection type stuff. Yeah, well, hey, thanks for being there, Jerry. It is what it is, homie. This channel will evolve, and I'm trying to keep it music, and we'll have more interactions as the days go on with this channel. One project that hasn't been talked about much, so I have an amp coming from YDNA in New York, the Aqueous. you guys know about that. It's going to be put into this Fender Princeton cabinet. I took the Fender Princeton logo off, and we're going to put a YDNA badge on it. It's also got a baffle up there that I have close by. But yeah, it's got a 12-inch Alnico Jensen speaker. We'll see how that sounds with the Aqueous amp that he built, because now it's no longer a Princeton. It's more of a high watt with a 6v6 output section. So that'll be interesting to see that unboxing. Another thing that he's working on that hasn't been talked about much is a wah. I sent him a Joe Bonamassa Dunlop wah, and he gutted it, and he's fine-tuning it. And when he sends it to me, I'm going to shoot it out against none other than the Friedman Gold 72. No more tears. Yeah, the YDNA wah versus the Friedman wah. It's going down, people. No, not Marty. David. Friedman is an amp company, and they basically make Marshall copies. Marshall hasn't been a real company for 25 years, 30 years. Since Marshall hasn't been making good amps since the 80s. So there's a big void to fill in the market space. And if you make just a slightly better version of Marshall and make it kind of look like Marshall and say, hey, this is a Marshall, except we really care about our product. So that's where Friedman stepped in. And yeah, Friedman makes amps. But Friedman is part of a conglomerate called Boutique Amp Distribution, which the mission statement of YDNA in New York is to put boutique amp distribution out of business. I don't know if you guys are tuned in with YDNA's socioeconomic philosophy about guitar amplifiers and music gear in general, but his goal as an amplifier designer and builder is to make people aware of what quality could be, and so their tastes change, and they no longer want to spend $4,000 on a PCB mass-produced amp built in a factory by 25 different people. They want higher quality standards built by someone who really cares. Not something that calls itself boutique, but is truly boutique, built with the best parts by someone who does it the slow way. Instead of knocking 20 amplifiers out in a factory in an afternoon, it's something that might take one guy 20 days. Now, is there money in that? Not so much for the one guy, for the sole proprietor. But there's a lot of sole proprietors and a lot of people that have the knowledge at this point who are doing it. And if you, the consumer, wants to give them $3,000 instead of giving the factory built amp company $3,000, then you can get a special amp. They're out there. So it's really up to you as the guitar player. Who do you want to give your money to? Do you want to give it to the big factory and buy something that other people have, or do you want to give it to an artist who built it himself, and it is just built with much better components, and if it breaks, it's fixable? Your money can go a long ways if you go to sole proprietors. Yeah, so sometimes it has seemed like the YDNA socioeconomic philosophy about tube guitar amplifiers might be kind of a Don Quixote type crusade. But you know what? The word is getting out there, and more players want to see, oh, show me the gut shots of that amp. Let's see what's going on under the hood. If that thing looks like a VCR, I know when it breaks, I'm not going to be able to fix it. And then I will be subject to a hostage situation when I hand it over to a repair guy. He's going to be able to say whatever he wants to me as an artist who's not a mechanic electrician. He's going to say, oh, yeah, no problem. Just give me $20. I got it to work. Or he's going to be able to say, we got a big problem. Yeah, this is going to be $450. And maybe he took the same 10 minutes in both scenarios. But since a lot of the artists out there, not really myself included, but I don't have the knowledge. I got a little knowledge, but most artists, they don't know what the hell is going on underneath the hood. So you can get ripped off all day long. And these things, they need maintenance, you know. So if you're not a mechanic, hope you find an honest one. And the mass manufactured ones from the factories, if stuff heats up underneath the hood, bro, you're just going to have to scrap it and buy a new one for the most part. If you get one that's built with love, the low and slow way by one guy, a mechanic can fix that. But if you take your amp that underneath the hood, it looks like a VCR to the mechanic's going to go, oh shit, look, buddy, nah, I can't help you with this one. So yeah. So what I said is that it might seem like a Don Quixote quest that he's put out, but no, it's real. More people want to see underneath the hood and are dissatisfied with poor quality. And Gibson bought Mesa a couple years ago, Mesa Boogie amps, and they had a big scandal by dismissing the founder, Randall Smith. But the scandal people aren't talking about with Mesa Boogie is that more and more players want to see what's going on underneath the hood. And when you show me something that looks like a VCR underneath the hood of something that should look very different than that, I don't want that amp. Especially when it's got like a $3,500 price tag. You got to be kidding me. Okay? Now, if it sounds great and it's looking like a VCR underneath the head, but it's got the name Mesa Boogie on it, and it only costs $1,200 new for a 50-watt high gain head with a lot of features. Now we're talking. That might work for me, right? But if we're talking 3,500, and they're like, "Ooh, yeah, Mesa Boogie, we're a boutique brand. Don't look under the hood. Don't worry about that. Just, oh, it looks very nice on the outside." No, 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 no. Okay, so I think that's the bigger scandal that's going on with Mesa right now is the players want better quality stuff. And oh, remember Gibson put out those amps themselves, and it said hand built in Petaluma, California. Remember that shit? And then people did the gut shots of them, and they're like, "Man, this thing is a fucking piece of shit Chinese, like Fender Blues Junior looking." That was a scandal with Gibson amps. All right, and Gibson owns Mesa Boogie, so the players just want more now, and the word's getting out. So if you think Andy Lederman, YDNA, if you think he's got pipe dreams, right? If you think he's Don Quixote, Crusade, storming the windmills, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You might want to do a little reevaluation of the market, because those ideas that I just put out, they're legit and they're happening right now. Yeah, paying for the name that no longer is. Well, the name brand stuff. Hey, it's cool to have a name brand. It's cool to have a nice badge that people know and associate with historic stuff, But if it looks like a VCR underneath the hood and you're asking $3,000 for it, bro, you could give a sole proprietor $2,000. The sole proprietor would probably spend $1,200 on parts, spend like a month on labor, and then you just got this really, really special amp for $2,000. When something like Mesa Boogie, they probably spend what, $400 on parts, and make it the same day, and then sell it for $3,000. Nah, just not worth it, man. And can you make a living yourself building guitar amps? Not really. But do guitar players want to buy special amps that are built low and slow with good quality components? Yeah, they increasingly do want to. Because we know that it's just a ripoff to buy something that looks like a VCR under the hood for like $3,000. Give me a break. And most of us, we want simple. What do you want? 50-watt Marshall? Effects loop, not an effects loop? Well, that's debatable. What do most people want? Most people want like 50-watt Marshall. Okay, oh, you want a little bit more gain? Okay. How about a hand-built slow? How about a hand-built Marshall with some mods? You can find sole proprietors. Even something like Cherry-A-Tone, right? Cherry-A-Tone, it's a better deal than like a Mesa Boogie. Now they do skimp. They do skimp in some ways, but skimp a lot less than a Mesa Boogie. So yeah. The little guys are going to keep taking money from the big guys. And Cherry-A-Tone isn't even a little guy. Cherry-A-Tone they got a lot of employees. But that's a much better brand to buy from than Mesa Boogie or Marshall. Why would you want a Marshall JCM 800 new today from Sweetwater for what, 2,800 bucks or something? Um, when you can spend, I don't know, 1,500 bucks on something that has better components from Cherrytone, probably more features. Um, I don't know why you'd want to get the 800 reissue. The 800 reissue, it's a 800 with an effects loop, like a modern effects loop. That's cool, but you can get that like built on a turret board with much better components for like $1,000 less. And there are options, not just one place to get it from either. So I don't know why you'd want to buy the 223 reissue, the 223X. Mm, yeah, I mean, you could buy the 223X used somewhere for cheaper, but it probably keeps its value pretty well because, hey, everybody's into fashion. They want to see that Marshall on the faceplate, right? But you could buy the Cherrytone Plexi All Access 51, right? And have just a badass um, Marshall with a ton of features. But then again, Cherrytone skimps on stuff. They'll use the bathtub resistors, you know. They'll use transformers that you might not want. They'll use probably half watt, 1 watt resistors where maybe you want to use something meatier. So yeah, Cherrytone is just it, it's like, why would you want to buy a Marshall when you can buy the Friedman? Why would you want to buy a Friedman or a Marshall when you can buy a Seriatone or Cherrytone, right? But then it's like, well, why would you want to buy a Cherrytone, a Marshall, or a Friedman if you could find somebody like the builders that are a part of this gang, give them $2,000 and get exactly what you want, built the old way? I'm saying, yeah, okay, so you'll buy a 100 watt Soldano SLO, and the components inside aren't great. It's PCB. The filtering, it's not beefy enough filtering. The transformers, well, where are they getting the transformers from? Not. I mean, if it's for the price you'd pay for a used SLO on Reverb, you could send the same amount of money to YDNA or ATEC 9020 and have them make you an SLO on a turret board with premium components and the transformers on either end of the chassis and just laid out really well, and just a superior amp for the price of a used SLO on Reverb. What's up, man? I'm talking about guitar amps. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna drop like $2,000, $3,000 on a guitar amp, consider your options and don't buy something that looks like a VCR when you open it up. That's not the way forward. More and more people know that at this point. Well, you just got to tune in to ATEC 9020. The amps he's currently made are more like matchless amps, which is not my style at all. But yeah, he makes like matchless type stuff, um, and 5E3 type stuff. But if you asked him to make um, a one channel Soldano high gain with effects loop on a turret board with the power and output transformers on opposite ends, laid out very nicely design wise for less amount of leads, he'd make you a badass Soldano if that's what you want. And for fashion's sake, you could be like a woman and go on Reverb and spend that $3,500 for a used Soldano. Or you could spend $2,000 and have somebody like that make you a better product. It's up to you, man. Do you want a Gucci purse for $4,000? Or a couple shops down from the Gucci shop, there's this old Italian guy who's 80 years old, been making handbags his whole life. He can make you the same type handbag, just higher quality, for $400 versus $4,000. If you want to pay for fashion, line up. But grown men shouldn't be paying for fashion. Grown men should be paying for quality. And this is a topic that hurts a lot of people's feelings. I'm sorry, that's not the purpose of addressing this. The purpose is pay for quality, vote with your dollars, and get the biggest bang for your buck, man. Now, if it's Marshall, Friedman, and Chariotone, I'm going Chariotone all day long, baby. Marshall and Friedman can't compete. But if I know what amp I really want, like if it's like, oh yeah, this thing by Chariotone, this is the one, and I like to set it up like this, then I can call that sole proprietor and say, hey, build me a turret board version of blah, 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 blah. I can get exactly what I want. All right? So think about that. I'll be right back. What's up, y'all? Who's still here? And you know, the shitty thing is that you can't just see like the Plexi All Access 1951 or whatever, or Area 51 on Cherrytone and be like, hey Nick, can you make me that amp except use all the best like capacitors and resistors and use Hammond or Hayboyer transformers and um, you know, and it's only going to cost like $50 more to spend the money to get the better stuff. Well, transformers wouldn't be; they'd be a little bit more. But as far as caps and resistors, like using bathtub resistors versus wire wounds, it's not going to be a lot more. But if you're making amps to that scale and you've got everything laid out in this factory assembly line type deal, it's not just going to be spending $45 more on better caps and resistors. It's the time that it'll take for you to accommodate this one order of this guy who wants different ingredients. Nah, man, we make Big Macs this way. That's how you can, make money at this game, is you don't change the recipe. But it would be a different story if there weren't any bathtub resistors in the Cherrytone products. It would be a different story if they just from the jump spent the extra $45 per amp to put better stuff in. But until that day comes, you might just want to reach out to a sole proprietor and say, look, here's what I want. And it's hard to compete with those Cherrytone prices. It has been for a long time. Those prices are low. And they were a lot lower, 5 years ago than they are now. But so, yeah, dude, it is tough to compete with those Cherrytone prices. And they've got that USA website where it's like you don't even have to worry about the shipping. It's like usacustomamp.com or some shit, where they're already here and the shipping is not this wild card that will scare off the customer. Yeah, it is hard to compete with them, but if I bought one of their amps, the first thing I'd want to do is, okay, let's open it up and upgrade some parts. And I don't want to be spending money like that and having to chop stuff up first thing. I want to get what I want from the jump. Man, you shouldn't be pricing EVHs, bro. That's some VCR type stuff underneath the hood. Yeah, and what's different about the EVH Custom Stealth and cabinet to the Crate Blue Voodoo head and cabinet? If this was 1995, you'd be looking at like, hey, Team YDNA, he's talking about all these weird amps from the 60s and 70s. I can get the Blue Voodoo with a 4x12 for 15 or for $13.99. If this was 1995, that's what you'd be talking about right now. But instead, you're saying for $4,000, I can get the EVH and a matching 4x12. Yeah, man, forget it. People expect more out of amplifiers. We want the best and we will get the best. And we won't have to pay any more. For $4,000, you can go to Guitar Center and get a Marshall 4x12. And then that'll set you back $600. And then you'll have $3,400 left over. You can send 2,000 of those bucks to ATEC 9020 or YDNA in New York and get exactly what you want with the best parts made in a much better way. And then you'll have $1,400 left over, and you'll have an amp that's not like a VCR inside. My take on VHTs, okay, I've had VHT. One of my favorite amps, my favorite big production company amp was a VHT Pitbull 212 combo from the mid-90s. Loved it. Loved it. But it was a channel switcher. And when the relays broke down, I reached out to VHT, Fryette amplification. Hey guys, I'm in San Francisco. Please help me. My amp has these problems going on. No reply, right? And they're known for that. Then I take it to the amp guy that I've did a lot of business with out there. A couple weeks later, calls me up. Hey dude, you can give me $80 for spending some time on this and looking at it if you want to, but yeah, there's something wrong with the relays. I can't figure it out. So one of my favorite tube amps of all time, a 212 VHT Pitbull combo. I think it's called the VHT Pitbull Classic or something. It's at maximum gain levels, it's probably like JCM 800 gain, but it's got a nice clean sweep for most of the sweep. Nice amp. I loved it. But I sold it on Reverb as is for like I don't know, $400 plus shipping. And there you go. If that was coming from a sole proprietor, it would be a different story, right? To the comment, it's time to roll a number, mate. Well, it's time to send me an email, mate. 10-second video, right? Just saying, here's my guitars, here's some cabinets. I want to get in the giveaway. Let me in, and I will reply, you are now in. Thank you. It's as simple as that. If you want in, get in here. I'm not going to tell you how many people are currently part of this. The number is low. But if 5 people apply this week and get in, I will take my name out of the hat. And then in the near future, when we got 30 people that have successfully applied and shown that they're ready for this, I think I'm going to cap the motherfucker. Because I want this to be a dedicated small community. Yeah, send a 10-second clip. Here's my guitars. Here's speaker cabinets. I'm a guitar player. I'm ready for a 50-watt head. Let me in the giveaway. And I will say, welcome to the giveaway. Congratulations, you are entered. Come on, dude. The email is on the channel description or the about page. Hey, everyone is welcome to apply. All right. If you're a guitar player, you got some electric guitars, you got a speaker cabinet. If you have a Fisher-Price speaker cabinet, forget about it. If you got something that can handle a 50-watt head, send me a 10-second video clip. And you will most likely be one of 30 people that'll be in the running for this. No duplicates. You can't have your wife sign up. You can't have your non-guitar playing friend sign up. I'm going to vet this, and I'm going to reject a lot of applications. All right? If your speaker cabinet is great, make me a video anyway and apply. If you send me a video of a practice amp and you're like, that's my speaker cabinet, nah. If you got some cheap piece of shit 4x12 crate cabinet, if I'm feeling generous that day, I might let you in. Maybe I'll have a summit with ATEC and we can go live together and review the footage and decide if we want to let you in, you know, based on the gear that we see, the images, the video. But yeah, I want to keep this a small community, dedicated people that are there because they have passion. This isn't going through the grocery store and, oh, they're giving away 2 cases of wine if we put our email address and name and phone number in the box. Yeah, maybe they'll call us in a few months. Or no, this ain't like that, man. This is for people that are going to keep an eye on this channel and on ATEC's builds. I'm going to follow this a little bit and really want to get it in the mail. I'm going to cap this thing off. Yeah, that's what this is supposed to be about, is somebody that really wants it. And that's what we're going to do. I will advertise this on some of the big guitar forums, but I'm going to be picky about who I let in this thing. If I just get flooded with applications after advertising it, probably going to create an email template and send it to a lot of those people saying, thank you for your interest in the giveaway. We have reached our maximum amount of entries, and I hope that you watch on giveaway day or something like that. Yeah, this isn't like if you're a member of the Gear Page forum, like every month they're like, hey, we have a giveaway from Sweetwater, and it's this random grouping of like 3 different pieces of musical gear. It's like, click here to sign up. And then 22,000 people click on this email, and somebody gets an email saying, you have won. Or maybe nobody really wins, right? This ain't like that. This is using YouTube as a social network to do direct communication about a niche subject, a topic that is our hobby. So I don't want to build a big community. I want people that want this and that deserve it. Now, as you know, YDNA says that he's the only amp manufacturer that does extensive background checks on all his clients. If you happen to own a cat, you're out. He's very picky on who he's willing to work with. I'm not that picky. Okay. But what I'm going to be picky about is who really wants this. And if you're hitting me up like, hey, I've got this $100 acoustic guitar in the closet, and I've got this this crate practice amp that if I disconnect the amp, I can use the combo as a cabinet, I'm going to say, I might not even reply. Okay? And it's not a class thing either. There's a lot of guitar players out there who spend more on their small guitar rig than they do on their car. I think I've addressed your question with what I just said. If I'm feeling charitable, you may be in the running. But no, a Line 6 cab with like Celestion 7080s, there's no head that you're going to connect that to that's going to sound good. I guarantee you. If you're playing Celestion 7080s out of some Line 6 cab or some sort of Marshall MG cab or whatever. You don't give a fuck about this hobby. That's the truth. So, hey, I might just be talking to myself, but if you want to win a 50 watt EL34 high gain, clean to mean, simple tube head, hit me up, man. Because I'm going to cap it. This is going to go to somebody that was here early that really wants it. And if you see the description of this video, you'll see who's part of this gang that we're assembling here. Everybody that's in the description, they keep it real. They do communication like this. They're not worried about production value. They're not salesmen. All right. I unsubscribed from 80% of the guitar stuff that I was subscribed to about 6 months ago. Man, you don't want to be watching infomercials. All right, guys.